Welcome to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin podcast, your weekly news roundup of hunting, fishing, trapping, and conservation stories from around the Gem State. Hosted by Fish and Game's Public Information Specialist, Connor J. Lease.
And welcome, everyone, to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin podcast. It's been another busy week for hunting, fishing, trapping, and conservation stories here in Idaho. This week on the Hook and Bulletin, we'll be talking about turkeys wearing backpacks, how you can get involved in the 2024 through 2030 elk management plan, and bighorns in the Middle Fork. But first, Idaho Fish and Game just blew out the candles on its 125th birthday, and we got a whole lot of new content to share with you. Idaho Fish and Game has been around since 1899, believe it or not. In that year, the Idaho legislature established the agency as a new objective to protect, perpetuate, and manage Idaho's fish, wildlife, and habitat on behalf of the public. And that's you folks. And it is because of you and your invaluable support, whether that's buying tags or hunting, fishing, and trapping licenses. It's a huge mutual undertaking from both sides and a huge win for Idaho's wildlife. So, to celebrate this huge achievement, Fish and Game is hosting some public events and encourage y'all to come and participate. No matter where you live in the Gem State, you can find something going on nearby at your local regional office. Head on over to Fish and Game's 125 webpage to see the full list of dates and times. And again, because it cannot be stressed enough, thanks for all the support that Idaho's sportsmen and women have shown over the years. 125 years, to be exact. Oh, and if these late winter blues got you down, or you just need a little motivation heading into spring hunting and fishing season, there are 3 brand new videos now available on our YouTube page. Even if you got to pull away from this podcast for a second, just go do it. These videos will give you goosebumps and hopefully churn inside of you a profound appreciation that we actually get to call this state home. All right, moving on to some unfortunate elk news. Back in early March, conservation officers in southwest Idaho discovered a total of 5 elk that were shot out of season and left to waste in 2 separate incidents in Unit 39. Fish and Game officers are asking the public for any information regarding these 2 cases. At the first location, officers found 3 cows that had been shot and left on the north side of Arrow Rock Reservoir's South Fork Arm, below the Neal Bridge and near the mouth of Camp Creek. At the second location, they discovered 2 bulls, a 5 and a 6 point, that had been shot and left near the Forest Service Spur 121S access site on the South Fork Boise Road. Officers determined that one of the bulls had been moved a short distance and that someone had attempted to hide it under a pile of brush. Officers believe that in both incidents, the elk were shot sometime around March 4th or 5th. If anyone has information about these incidents, please call the Nampa Regional Office at 208-465-8465. or the Citizens Against Poaching hotline at 1-800-632-5999. Remember, callers can remain anonymous when reporting wildlife violations and may be eligible for cash rewards when that information leads to a citation for a wildlife crime. Head on over to our website and read Brian Pearson's story to learn more. Now, on to more positive elk news. Hunters, now is your chance to check out the latest elk management plan that will guide elk management, hence the name, for the next 6 years, from 2024 to 2030. A huge chunk of the management plan dives deep into sections like population monitoring, hunting opportunities, predation, private lands and elk, habitat, statewide management direction, and elk management zones. Remember, this plan is a revision, not an overhaul. The department and the commission are unlikely to drastically change the current foundation of elk hunting, which consists of the 28 elk zones with the A-B tag system and a mix of general and controlled hunts. The plan is simply the blueprint for sustaining healthy elk herds, rebuilding herds that are below objectives, and establishes goals that Fish and Game will work to achieve over the next 6 years. Now, the plan is lengthy, very lengthy, like 190 pages long lengthy. But the good news is, you more than likely don't have to read the whole darn thing. Simply reading the document's executive summary within the first couple pages will give you a very solid overview of what the management plan is trying to achieve. Then, if you're feeling frisky enough to explore further, you're welcome to do so. And newsflash here, Fish and Game wants to hear from hunters. It doesn't matter whether you're in full support of the plan's direction or if you got some constructive comments to add. Your input literally shapes the plan, and right now is the best time to go and shape it. The deadline to leave a comment is May 5th, a little less than a month away from the time of this recording. So hit the link in the description and get after it. Next up, it's back to school day for turkeys in the Panhandle, and here's how they're impressing their friends with some cool new backpacks. Anyone who's lived in the Panhandle for more than a couple of months knows there is no shortage of wild turkeys in North Idaho. While some might understandably find wild turkeys pesky, many others continue to value the incredible hunting opportunity they provide. To better understand the robust turkey populations in the Panhandle, Fish and Game staff spent some time during late winter and early spring putting leg bands and GPS backpacks on wild turkeys. Yeah, that's right, backpacks. Biologists in our Panhandle region are interested in learning not what's causing a decline in their turkey populations, but what's causing them to thrive. Here's Regional Wildlife Manager Micah Elstrom to explain why.
Turkey populations are in decline in some areas across the nation, but not really here in North Idaho. It actually seems to be the opposite. By gathering information while turkey populations up here are doing well, we should be better positioned to respond should things change with wild turkeys in the Panhandle. Ultimately, the information gained will better inform harvest and population management of the species into the future.
Wild turkeys were captured in select locations across Bonner and Kootenai counties using baited funnel traps. After being trapped, 30 adult hens were outfitted with GPS backpacks and leg bands, all the rage these days, and more than 120 additional male and female turkeys were outfitted with only leg bands. Hens with GPS backpacks will be tracked over the next few years, with a particular emphasis on better understanding when and where they nest and how successful their nesting attempts were. In addition, information will be gained regarding turkey survival from any leg bands encountered by hunters, as well as data gathered from the GPS backpacks. There is relatively little known about turkey ecology in Idaho, and this is the first project of its kind to shed light on nesting, habitat use, and turkey survival in North Idaho. And with the turkey season opener right around the corner, here's a friendly request that if you do happen to harvest a bird with a leg band, please report it to the Panhandle Regional Office. You'll be able to keep the band, plus learn when and where your harvested bird received its flashy little anklet. All information gained from the study will help Fish and Game better manage wild turkeys and continue to provide fantastic hunting opportunities for them. All right, next up, we're heading to the Middle Fork of the Salmon River. Fish and Game staff recently conducted aerial surveys in the Middle Fork Salmon River to count the area's bighorn sheep populations. The surveys, from the bird's eye view of a helicopter, covered hunting units 20A, 26, 27-1, 27-2, 27-3, and 27-4. The last time a survey was flown over the area was back in 2017, and this time, biologists discovered higher numbers of bighorns. Fish and Game staff counted a total of 1,123 bighorn sheep. This included 578 ewes, 198 lambs, and 347 rams. 163 of those were classified as mature individuals. It's worth noting, the Middle Fork bighorn population experienced a major die-off in the early 1990s, and the population has been believed to be disease-limited with chronically low lamb-to-ewe ratios since that time. Lamb-to-ewe ratios, as the phrase implies, are simply the percentages of babies to moms. And understanding these ratios gives biologists a good idea of how populations are faring. While the results of the 2024 survey are encouraging, it's worth mentioning that the survey methods differed from those in previous years, including 2017, which were flown at the same time as those for deer and elk. This latest effort was a sheep-specific survey, meaning that the assessment was focused solely on the Middle Fork bighorn sheep population. Wildlife managers will be considering this data as they gear up for the season setting cycle this fall and winter. To read more of this story and see some incredible photos taken from the air, be sure to check out Brian Pearson's story on our website, link in the description. With that, it's time for the Rapid Fire Bulletin. The second year of the CWD management action has officially concluded, and Fish and Game has taken the opportunity to share those results. The 3-week CWD management action took place February 5th through the 23rd within the Slate Creek hotspot area. Results from the management action included 83 white-tailed deer, 72 mule deer, and 2 elk. And from those removals, wildlife staff detected 140 negative cases and 16 positive cases. Check out Jen Bruns' story to learn more about this study. A massive congratulations to Fish and Game Conservation Officer Spencer Wesche. Officer Wesche was honored as this year's Shikar Safari Club International Wildlife Officer of the Year. Officer Wesche has been in the Rexburg Patrol area for 5 years. A recent realignment further increased her area of responsibility by nearly 25%, which she took in stride. Congratulations once again to Spencer on this prestigious award, and thanks for all the work you do. Attention Bear Lake anglers. Fisheries staff from Idaho Fish and Game and the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources are going to be sharing updates on the Bear Lake fishery on Tuesday, April 16th. The meeting starts at 6 p.m. and will be held down in Garden City, Utah. Anglers and other community members interested in the status of the Bear Lake fishery are encouraged to attend. Biologists from both agencies will provide insights on how populations are looking and ongoing management work related to the wide array of fish found in the lake. For more information, check out Jenny Jackson's press release, link in the description. Back up in the Panhandle, Fish and Game is recruiting new range safety officers at the Farragut Shooting Range Center in Athol. Volunteer range safety officers, or RSOs, enjoy free access to the range, free training on topics ranging from NRA RSO certification, first aid and CPR, ATV use, and much more. RSOs are a passionate bunch, and they love what they do, making the experience both fun and rewarding on so many levels. So come join the team. Fish and Game is seeking to enroll new properties in its Access Yes program, which improves public access to or through private land by compensating willing landowners who provide access. In addition to receiving monetary compensation, landowners can specify conditions upon public access that best meet their needs, such as restricting motorized vehicles, restricting when the property is publicly accessible, and for which wildlife species they are offering public hunting or trapping opportunities. Check out Mike Demick's story below if you want to learn more. And a final reminder for anglers. Tomorrow, Friday the 12th, is the last day to leave comments on the Idaho Fisheries Management Plan for 2025 through 2030. Just like the elk plan I mentioned earlier, this management plan describes Fish and Game's management direction, the guiding policy document for fisheries activities over 6 years, and sets the overall framework for managing your favorite fishing waters across the state. Hit the link in the description to review the plan and provide feedback. Okay, that's it for this week's stories. It's time for our question of the week. Here's the question. I have never hunted before, but have passed my hunter's safety about 10 years ago. If I get a deer tag, can I hunt any public land in the mountains, or are the tags only for certain areas? So, assuming you are an Idaho resident, a resident deer tag is valid for any general hunting season, and you can see which units are open for regular tags in the Idaho Big Game Seasons and Rules booklet. You will notice that there are regular and white-tailed deer tags available, and here's how that works. A regular tag is valid for both mule deer and whitetail, but in most units, you're limited to hunting in October. A whitetail tag is valid only for whitetails, but provides more November hunting opportunities, particularly in the Clearwater region. So yes, the tags are valid on public land where there is a general season. You can also access lots of private land through our Access Yes and Large Tracts programs that open up hundreds of thousands more acres to public hunting. And with that, that's all the news we have for this week. Thanks so much for putting an ear to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin. If there's something on your mind, or if you got a question related to Fish and Game matters, feel free to drop us a line at podcast@idfg.idaho.gov. Again, that's podcast@idfg.idaho.gov. Thank you for listening, folks. We'll catch you next week.